for this, okay. All right, for this session, we have 5 because we have 5 and we only have 90 minutes. So probably 10 minutes for each presenters. And then we can continue with the question and answer because we're trying to finish by 6, right? Okay, so the first presenter will be Bu Keppi Sukesi, and then followed by Bu Wiwik Afifah, and then Bu Dewi Leliana, and then Bu Tuti Budi Rahayu, and the last is Bu Anis Farida. Okay, don't forget about 10 minutes, and then we will continue with the question and answer. Okay, without further ado, so I will ask Bu Keppi for presenting her paper entitled the title here,
collective
awareness, yes, collective awareness and resilience of women in higher education in Indonesia towards COVID-19 pandemic. Okay, please, time is yours, Bu Keppi. You have 10 minutes.
Thank you, Diah. Let me share screen, please. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. My name is Keppi Sukesi. I'm from Brawijaya University. I am a rural sociologist with a special interest in gender and women studies. I am also committee of Indonesian Association of Women and Gender Studies in Indonesia. Now, I would like to present about my result of research, our result of research about the collective awareness and resilience of women in higher education in Indonesia toward COVID-19 pandemic. Okay, yes. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. In many crises, we know that experiences the portray women quick and positive responses to crisis management. And in outstanding shift due to the outbreak of COVID-19 throughout the world has a tremendous impact in all fields and various circles, include the higher education community consisting women and men. The higher education as a scholar community is expected to tackle problems during the pandemic. The aims of our study are to analyze the collective awareness of women in higher education in response of the COVID-19 pandemic. Number 2 is to analyze women resilience and social resilience to the COVID-19 pandemic. Okay. This research used the mixed method between quantitative and qualitative. The study was started with online survey and then continued with an in-depth study. The location is universities in Indonesia consists of Western, Central, and Eastern region. The participants were students, lecturers, and administrative staff. The total of the online participant was 2,246 people, consisting of 1,545 women and 700 men. The in-depth study was conducted at University of Brawijaya of East Java, and this is my campus. Okay, this is the result of our research. The first is the lecture administrative staff. At the beginning of pandemic, students and then the lecturer should obtain information about the COVID-19 from social media, electronic, newspaper, and from primary sources, especially family, neighbors, and college. For women, the media effectively improves resilient behavior toward COVID-19 through mutual awareness. This is the data about the source of information from social media and from primary sources of information. The higher education community demonstrate collective awareness by implementing health protocol on campus and out of campus. The task of COVID-19 was formed, and all of university staff and students work from home, hand washing facilities, sanitizer, and the use of masks were required. The health protocol awareness shows the significant contribution of education and styling aspect of the discipline, concern for personal health, family, and society. Yeah, this is the health protocols. Majority is using mask is promoted at the beginning, and washing, immunity, and others. Okay, the women through the local wisdom play eloquent roles for themselves and the environment. The charity for affected people out of campus, we call it sembako or basic need of society in the village area. And I think this is the solidarity from the campus to society. And resilient kampung, or we call it kampung tangguh, kampung tangguh, kampung kue, and something like that. In Brawijaya University, we have kampung tangguh. Program were conducted to increase community resilience in the village. The activity is the dissemination of information, health, food security, human resources, and cultural and psychological resilience. Moreover, women are actively involved in such activities. Awareness and concern of women in higher education contribute to resuscitating the community in changing behavior to engage men and women in the task force proportionally. The understanding the COVID-19 transmission are new adaptation pattern. Women take position in food security and family nutrition, the education of children, environment awareness, and improving the movement of changing behavior. And the conclusion of our research is education is important factor. Prioritizing aspect of discipline, concern for personal health and surrounding, education as a basic for farming mindset, attitude, and collective awareness. Education can provide knowledge, behavior, daily activities such as the important maintaining health protocol and in the mindset of the COVID-19 pandemic. And the contribution of university to the society. This is I would like to show you about the activities of the Kampung Tangguh for women, especially training for women in food security. We call it lumbung pangan activities, processing of cassava by women in food security in lumbung pangan activities. And then this is the training about how to handle corpse for COVID-19 victim especially for women. And yeah, we have the regularly live discussion with the Brawijaya University with women in Kampung Tangguh, and this is one of the example in Kampung Cempluk. Okay, and yeah, this is social helping activities. We call it bansos, bantuan sosial or social helping in Kampung Tangguh by the sembako, yeah, basic need of society like rice, sugar, and palm oil, yeah, and something like that. For the children, we have the simulation about how to know how to explain what is the COVID-19 and what is health protocol, and how to helping others help. This is especially for children and youth. I think dominated by boys here. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And the last is, yeah. Thank you very much, and thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you very much, Bu Keppi. Very interesting in the sense that the university have helped community in preventing the spread of the COVID-19. Yeah, education is very, very important, but unfortunately, total lockdown is not necessarily working in this case, unfortunately, because very recently Indonesian president said that in many ways, Indonesia has failed to stop the spread of the virus. Okay, now let's move to the second presenter, Ibu Wiwik Afifah.
I have a comment to make. Yeah, I have a comment to make.
Okay, all right, yeah.
Just one
Bidyut,
sentence.
sorry, we have to finish by 6. Oh, sorry, 6 here. Can we finish by noon, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Just one comment, one sentence only, not much. Women in higher education, what is their goal? Do they want to get married, or they want to build their career? What is their mental setup? How far the socialization of our generation and the younger generation has changed? Are they career oriented? And do they want to get married, as per their own wish or at the wish of the family? That's all. Okay, so we can go to the next speaker.
Okay, yes.
She can answer at the end.
Yeah, Wiwik Afifah, she will be speaking about the vulnerability of women in policies handling COVID-19 pandemic in Indonesia. So the time is yours, Bu.
No, kindly introduce yourself. Just
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. Thank you for your time and attention. My name is Wiwik Afifah. I'm from Untak, Surabaya. I will present my research. This is a law or policy research. It's about vulnerability of women in policy handling the COVID-19 pandemic in Indonesia. Sorry, Bu Diah, my laptop is broken, so my presentation is helped by my friend Miftahul. Okay, the research background is during a pandemic, the vulnerability group is growing, especially for women, children, community group in remote, marginalized, outermost, and etc. like disabilities, elder. And for the vulnerability group, there is no specific regulation in Indonesia in pandemic COVID. So the government in my research, the government issued a lot of policy in the first semester for handling COVID pandemic. It's in February till July. And there are at least 3 main policy regarding the handling of COVID. This policy are task force of COVID, handling policy of COVID, and social restriction for community. Social restriction policy in form of the social restriction for a community is like make some problem to women, such as the women have a multi-burden when they work at home, and they must they must educational their children, they must care their families, and etc. So this policy can increase a woman vulnerability when the policy is not especially regulate how to end the multi-burden of women. Next, please. Our research problem is, does the COVID pandemic policy use a gender perspective approach, and what form of women's vulnerability when the government policy do not have a gender perspective? Next. Our research method. This research is a normative study with a statutory approach and conceptual approach. And the problem number 2 is empirical study with a qualitative data from non-government organization and vulnerable people with the purposive sampling. Our informant from home workers from JLA PRT, labor and layoff workers from LBH Surabaya, and housewife from KPI Surabaya. And I use human rights theory and feminist legal theory. Next. In this research, the restriction on legal material studies are legal material related that COVID issued by the government during the first semester, and regulation from the Ministry of Manpower, the Ministry of Social Affairs, and the Ministry of Women Empowerment and Child Protection. This is my result and discussion. The first, presidential instruction or Inpress number 6 regulates state official who are tasked with drafting COVID regulation and regulate action to prevent and handling COVID without the involvement of the Ministry of Women Empowerment. The Impress regulate health protocol in general without any additional arrangement that are specific to vulnerable groups such as women, elder, disabilities, and informal workers. Then Impress number 9 concerning the COVID task force, that still discussion membership, the composition, the task force to accelerate the handling of COVID. For this regulation, Ministry of Women has been included the task force, and this regulation regulate the budget for the task force and reallocation the APBN or the state revenue and expenditure budget and the regional revenue and expenditure budget or APBD that must reallocation almost of budget for handling COVID-19. And the regulation number 21 concerning about the PSBB or social restriction with the large scale in order to accelerate the handling COVID-19 and discuss definition and indicator, carry out PSBB, and the authority of the Ministry of Health in deciding a region to implementing the PSBB. And for this policy, it's still discussion about obligate to carry out PSBB and regulate education, school restriction, religious activity, activities in public facilities, that all pay attention to the basic need of the population. And this regulation is not discussion about the affirmation for women, children, disabilities for the basic needs, such as visiting for the pregnant women, childbirth, and the form of visit by the health workers of women. For the three policies, there is no reflected affirmative action for the vulnerable group or arrangement for vulnerable group. However, the policies made by the relevant ministries have side with the women and children. So from the ministry, there is many specifically regulated to women, children, or vulnerable people. The first from the Ministry of Manpower, there is no arrangement for informal worker during pandemic, but Ministry of Manpower issues a circular letter of or a surat edaran or SA concerning guideline for worker protection and business continuity for the prevention and control of COVID-19. In this regulation, not included the category of statute regulation and their binding capacity is limited. The government should issue a better policy such as a ministerial regulation or higher so that it has authority or binding power. The next, vulnerability of worker position to obtain the job security, termination of employment, and not paying holiday allowance. The vulnerability of worker position to obtain the job, based on the presidential decree number 12, concerning the determination on natural disaster on the spread of coronavirus as a national disaster, so every citizen has the right to obtain the good public service from the state and the state obligation to fulfill right and the basic need of the citizen, including social security of worker. If the worker have a layoff, the chance not paying BPJS or social security is very high, while the workers are included of the group with the healthy vulnerabilities. Next. It's still policy from the Ministry of Manpower. Presidential Regulation number 36 concerning work competency development through pre-employment card program. It's called Kartu Prakerja. This program is intended for people affected by layoff and people age of 18 years who have been by the pandemic, so they cannot work. And the program runs only for months by providing job training and post-training incentive. The next. The next is Ministry of Social Affairs. Concerning implementation, they have a regulation that concerning implementing basic food assistance and cash assistance in handling the impact of COVID-19. The policy regulate temporary social security cash assistance is intended for families affected by COVID with the data obtained from the social services by requiring bank account. When that change with the existing of an alternative payment through PT Pos Indonesia, it's not so difficult for women to have a bank account, so they can come to PT Pos to get the cash assistance as social security. For this social security, this assistance does not differentiate between poor families in many categories. For example, like widows, families with the elderly people, and more than 2 children, and etc. The next. Another Ministry of Social Affairs policy is to increase the number of participants in the PKH program. It's like a family who program. This provides subsidies for education, health, and welfare assistance for poor family. Special social security is provided for pregnant women, people with disabilities, and elder age 70 years old and over. Next. And the last of all policy from the Ministry of Social Affairs, The activation of basic food card for the poor is recorded by the community units or RW. When the poor people receive card containing balance of fund that can be spent on the e-shop that have collaboration with the government, but it's not so effective because people or community didn't have many information how can they pay or buying with the e-shop, or maybe the e-shop it's so far away from their home. The next. There is a policy that from Ministry of Women Empowerment and Children Protection or KPPPA. KPPPA is not issued regulation related to accelerating the handling of COVID-19 in the first semester. However, in the following semester, they have a protocol for handling cases for women, and KPPA they have not only the protocol for handling cases, they have a program like a distant program. It's called Berjarak, or together take care our families. And this movement has been focused to intervention for vulnerable group affected by the danger or of exposure to COVID-19, such as children, women, elderly, disabilities, who are given protection in a fair, non-discrimination manner, and they are from stigma. And there is a form of woman vulnerability.
Bu Wiwik, sorry, you have very limited time. Have 1 more minute, Bu Wiwik, sorry.
Yes, because it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have 1 more minute, okay?
Yeah, yes, it's okay, Bu. And there is a many form of woman vulnerability and economic vulnerability and social vulnerability. I think I'm not explain the vulnerability, then I will explain the conclusion. Policies issues in the first semester by President and Task Force for handling COVID still general in natural regulating community restriction movement and implementing health protocol. The prevention and handling has not been based on a gender perspective, even though its implementation women are as a target of the policy. Furthermore, three related ministries such as Ministry of Social Affairs, Manpower, and Women Empowerment seek to issue regulation and program with a gender perspective and a little innovation. And then the vulnerability women of the economic and social field is actually related with the other fields. In economic field, vulnerability rise due to the layoff, multiple workplace, and restriction on economic activities. Vulnerability in the social sector, such as multi-burden in the household, violence, higher allocation of the cost for hygiene and health nutrition. Meanwhile, the position of women is a vulnerable group and equal access to this field, which are not specially regulated by the relevant ministry. Thank you for this time and my presentation. Thank you, Diah.
Thank you, Bu Wiwik. Thank you very much. Interesting presentation, especially about policies that issued by the government that not actually gender friendly. I can say that. All right, so we can continue to the next presenters, Bu Dewi Liliana. She will be speaking about increasing information literacy for Indonesian women to fight disruptive information related to COVID-19. So time is yours, Bu Dewi. Please introduce yourself first. Thank you.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Let me share screen first. Okay, my name is Dewi Yanti Liliana, and actually I'm a computer scientist. Wait. Oh my God, something wrong with the slide. Okay. Yes, I'm from Polytechnic Negeri Jakarta, and I'm also serving as a secretary for Women in Engineering, IEEE. That's an association for electronic and computer engineer. Okay, so I will talk about this is one of my project last year,
and it is funded by the IEEE Foundation, and it is as a response to a COVID-19 situation, and it is related to IT. So the title is Increasing Information Literacy for Indonesian Women to Fight Disruptive Information or Hoaxes related to COVID-19. And this is the background. Indonesia is the 4th largest population country in the world. So information can easily spread among people by using gadget in the internet, whether it is valid information or fake one. People can produce and distribute information without the awareness of the risk, although there is law, ICT law that regulate about the risk of spreading hoax, but it does still happen in the community. And spreading the fake news, especially related to COVID-19, will result in excessive public panic. So we analyze that COVID-19 hoaxes in Indonesia have spread out because people are reluctant to read, and most people have low information literacy. WIE, or Women in Engineering Indonesia, in collaboration with the community, communication media, doctor association, and government, try to overcome this disruptive information in the pandemic time through a pentahelic approach that I will describe later on. And this is the collaborators. We are collaborating with the Indonesian Women and Gender and Children Study Center Association, or ASWGI, which has constituents of women community in almost all areas in Indonesia. This organization has proved their commitment on empowering women by concerning on education capacity and advocacy for women, children, families, and communities. And one of the WIE mission is to promote STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics to young women. That's one of our mission. And this is our method. We use a pentahelic approach by collaborating with 5 stakeholders from Indonesian Doctor Association, or ED, academician, government, and also journalists or mass media. And then apart from that, the external collaborators is also Ministry of Communication and Informatics, Ministry of Women Role and Child Protection, and this is Kompas Media from the mass media, and also ITS, it's an Institute of Technology in Surabaya. And this is our project phase. We start from the initiation and planning. We conduct several series of webinar, workshop, and training of trainer, and then actualization phase after the workshop, and then conclude by the focus group discussion. And we analyze and reporting it to our sponsor. And then this is WADI is Women Against Disruptive Information, the acronym of our project. And we conduct the series of webinar, workshop on information literacy, training of trainers. Some of the presenters here are the trainer, Ibu Keppi, Ibu Wiwik, Prof. Emi. And we also develop a module of information literacy and visual campaign materials to be spreaded in the internet. And we also conduct a focus group discussion to discuss about the impact of the information literacy training. And the participants are certified women from ASWGI, and the trainer will disseminate the information literacy skill to their community. And this is the flyer the explainer about the webinar. We created some visual materials campaign, and this is the statistic of our trainers from all over Indonesia. And this is the module. This is the module that can be spread, disseminate for free to our for our trainer. And here are some visual campaign tools which is disseminated in social media and communities. So it is like Instagram posting and very visual, and the content is about how to combat hoax related to COVID-19, especially and generally for all hoaxes. We also train the trainer to use the tools, Hoaxbuster tools, to analyze whether the news valid or not. So this is the result and discussion. Virtual workshop participants know the step of information analysis and able to distinguish disruptive information. And virtual workshop participants demonstrate the process of distinguishing disruptive information and fake news using tools and technology known as Hoaxbuster tools. And virtual workshop participants capable of evaluating the validity of information and manage action to prevent disinformation and fake news spread. Virtual workshop on information literacy with materials from multi-stakeholders. So we have several speakers which provided the materials related to hoax and COVID-19 hoaxes. There's also module that we wrote, and then focus group discussion involving multi-stakeholders to evaluate the impact of information literacy training, the threat and the experiences in the implementation against disruptive information. And we plan to make a joint publication between WIE and ASWGI. So here are some output. We measure the pre-test and post-test score before and after, and we show that there is an increasing in the score. And this 37 virtual workshop participants from 21 cities in Indonesia become the trainers. They are able to utilize Hoaxbuster tools in their gadget and practicing to classify hoax by case studies and real experiences. Okay, and then in the implementation phase, the trainer reported their analysis in the activity sheet. There are 41 responses are recorded in the activity sheet, including experiences, action, and hoax categorization performed by the trainers. And we compiled 10 information literacy materials from multi-stakeholders and distributed it to the trainers. Okay, maybe this is the outcome. It's about the knowledge. Participant knows how to classify hoaxes, valid news, and the fake ones. And then skill, participant able to demonstrate the ability to sort information to others, to filter information before sharing. And then in the attitude, participants are able to prevent the spread of disinformation and fake news in the community. And the dissemination, workshop participants report their dissemination materials and modules to their communities and the impact of it so that it gives multiplier effect to the society. And the conclusion, hoaxes are spread due to a lack of knowledge and low information literacy skills. However, when someone has the knowledge and skill to analyze the validity of information, they are able to break the chain of hoax distribution and can also invite their community to filter all the information they get before they spread it. When working in a community with the same mission to eradicate hoaxes, there will be a courage to speak up and act if someone spread hoaxes in the community. And for the next plan, we are seeking for collaborators to join with the information literacy program to cope mis or disinformation or hoaxes. Some studies mention that baby boomers generations are vulnerable to hoax contamination and hoax distribution. So this is our next target. And Indonesia needs to elevate its information literacy skill. And this is some of the publication from IEEE Foundation regarding to our work. And this is the workshop, virtual workshop session. And sadly, one of our keynote speaker from Indonesian Doctor Association, Dr. Adrianto, is becoming the victim of COVID and has passed away several months ago. Okay, maybe that's from me. That's all from me, and thank you. I return back to the moderator.
Thank you, Bu Dewi Liliana. It's very interesting. And yesterday we talked about how technology is very masculine, right, Bidyut? Now we have women and engineering. That's very good. It's very good. I hope we have more and more girls or women in engineering, in sciences, yeah, because mostly women are in pink jobs, you know, like carers, teaching, like me, language, teaching, literature, very few women in engineering. So I really appreciate. Thank you, Bu Dewi. What do you think, Bidyut?
Yeah, you are right. So only thing is, I have a question to you. What is their social background and who are the targeted community? Women of the rural area or community, villagers and all that. That's all.
Okay.
And how
Can
effective they are.
she answer later? We have to move to the next
Later
presenter,
on.
right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Later you
exactly.
can answer the question. Okay. The next presenter is Bu Tuti Budirahayu, working with Bu Emmy Susanti and Bu Siti Masuda. She will be speaking about women vulnerability in economic problems and education of children in families in the pandemic time of COVID-19. Time is yours, Bu Tuti.
Okay, thank you. I will present my PPT. Okay.
So please introduce yourself. Kindly introduce yourself.
Everyone can
Introduce yourself.
Sorry. Yes, everyone can my PPT. Okay, my name is Tuti Budirahayu. I'm from Universitas Airlangga. I came from Sociology Department, like Bu Emi Susanti and my friend Siti Masuda, but she doesn't hear. Okay, I want to I want to explain my research about women vulnerability in economic problem and education of children and families. So this is my introduction. In normal situation, women have a good ability to cope with various family duties. And when in natural disaster situation, some studies show that women are able to recover faster than men. So we have some studies from another country, and when the disaster, when the natural disaster, women can recover. I want to know how do women deal with the disaster of the COVID-19 pandemic? Is it same with natural disaster or not? So the focus of this study are to explain how do women in rural areas in East Java perceive the COVID-19 pandemic phenomenon? And the second, what is the capacity of women in dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic? And the third, what things are dominant enough to make women vulnerable in facing a pandemic situation? And the fourth, how do women react in overcoming vulnerability due to the COVID-19 pandemic? I use the resilience theory to understand the phenomenon of women's vulnerability in East Java. In resilience theory, from Marshall and Marshall, identify 4 factors that are perceived to contribute to an individual's ability to survive, such as perceived risks associated with change. The second, the ability to learn or adapt. And the third, ability to cope. And the fourth, interest or desire to make change. Okay, this is the framework for understanding women's resilience in the era of COVID-19 pandemic. There are the context means the scope experienced by the subjects, context, social group, region, or institution. This is a system or process. Disturbance means things that cause disaster, natural or social disaster. And the capacity to deal with disturbance means experience firsthand, and then maybe they are exposed. And the reaction to disturbance means the subject have ability to respond to the disturbance. Okay. I have 3 assumptions about the perceived as the COVID-19 pandemic is perceived as a disturbance, both in social and economic aspect. The first, its manifestation can be shock or stress to the individual. Reaction to disaster can vary depending on individual capacities in dealing with disaster. The reaction will also be different depending on the individual resilience or vulnerability and community support. Recovering better, being able to recover but in worse condition than before, or even falling down. The method from my research, survey time is July until August 2020. This is 5 months after COVID-19 declared in Indonesia, and location are 20 cities or district in East Java province. At the time, East Java was the second highest region after DKI Jakarta in terms of population infected with COVID-19. Research method is quantitative descriptive by survey, and population, sample and population are women who are married in rural area, age 20 until 66 years. The average education is at junior and high school level, largely as a housewives. Sampling, I use quota sampling based on the district that has been determined. Data collection, distributing questionnaire in Google Form format. Data processing, descriptive statistic, I use univariate frequency table. This is the result. The first, women perceive of the COVID-19 pandemic disaster, almost the majority of respondents have been experienced with the COVID pandemic. They are feel stressed with it. And the second, there are 3 things that make women stress. The first, about family economic problem. This is unable to meet the needs of the family or loss of jobs. 81% answer yes. And the second, loss of source of income. 78% answer yes. And could not move or could not work. 61% is answer yes. This is the first thing that make women stress. And the second, about the burden of caring and teaching children at home. We can see continuity of children's education. 58% respondent answer yes. And must accompany the children to study at home. 53% respondent answer yes. And dealing with problem with children, the need for food, snack for children increase. And this is the interesting thing. The cost of purchasing internet data package for children learning at home has increased. This is can women stress with it. And the relation with husband, although not many respondents have experienced problem with their husband, but there are things that arise in this context. Husband is more sensitive, husband is bored at home, and husband does not help accompany children to study at home. Okay. The reaction of women in the face of COVID-19 pandemic. This is for strategy. Conflict in parents or relative, conflict in neighbors, worship and pray more intensely, or keeping the problem at hand. Indonesia people, however, is a religious society, so it's natural that they are rely on the belief to solve problem, if any problem. And Indonesian people is also communal society, so support of family and relative become very meaningful. This is the strategy for dealing with loss of job and income. Find another job are 67% women, although quite a lot respondent trying to get up from the problem, but there are women can do anything. This is 26% women not do anything. Okay. Relying on help from other parties, it turns out that women still need assistance from outside. Okay. This is the parties that provide assistance. There are 5 parties: mosque, local resident who currently live overseas, political parties, government, and there are never got help yet. So government assistance tidak awet. They are not get government assistance like bantuan or sembako. This is my conclusion, general conclusion. Although this study has not yet reached the finding of evidence that women have a fairly good ability to deal with the COVID-19 pandemic, at least it can be identified that women's perception of this pandemic situation cannot be underestimated, because almost most women feel quite heavy pressure, the result of prolonged pandemic. The pandemic situation that caused social and economic life to be uncertain has impact on the vulnerability of women in facing the economic needs of their families, child care patterns, and their relationship with their husband. Social, economic, and psychological support from the surrounding environment, such as parents, relatives, neighbors, and external parties in the form of assistance from the government and other institutions, can more or less increase the life expectancy of women and their families. However, to get back to life as before or even to be better, social and economic support must be strengthened so that women are more able to adapt to their new normal life. Okay, this is my presentation. Okay.
Thank you, Bututi. Thank you very much. I think, yes, we have to admit that gender-based, men and women will respond to this pandemic differently. But I think, as I think we all know that maybe we discussed about this already, that for women, especially at home, they have multiple burdens. Right? Not only taking care of the economic families, but also taking care of the children educations. And that's one of the reason the rate for the domestic violence has increased significantly, especially in Indonesia. Okay, I think because of the constraint of time, we have one last,
Just
one last presenter. Yes, Bidyut.
one comment to make.
Okay, sure.
Namely, how come, at you made contradictory sentences that the vulnerability has increased, multiple vulnerabilities have increased. At the same time, you say that the women live, women can fight the COVID better and they leave. What is the reason? Is it the biological or sociological phenomena which leads to their chances of surviving better? But I have done lots of research in this area, but it's nothing biological because already they're stressed. Their mental power is weakened. Don't you think it would affect their COVID situation? If they are affected by COVID, will they be able to fight effectively? How do you explain? I don't think the biological factor can explain that. You have to search if you can. Thank you.
Okay, that's a question for Bu Tuti later, but we have to, later we can answer the question, but now we have to move to the next presenter is Bu Anis Farida. She will be speaking about Cantelan, a solution to share and care during the COVID-19 pandemic. Time is yours, Bu Anis.
Kindly
Thank you.
introduce yourself.
Hello, yes, you can start, Bu Anis.
Okay, maybe the connection is rather unstable. Okay, thank you very much for this time. I will present my paper with the title Cantelan, a solution to share and care during the COVID-19 pandemic. My name is Anis Farida from State Islamic University of Sunan Ampel, Surabaya. Okay, I will, the background of this study, the COVID-19 pandemic status set by WHO in March 2020 has destroyed the economic structure and weakened social interaction in general. The need to secure ourselves with strict health protocol standards and how to maintain financial security and food availability is an absolute requirement in pandemic situation. Although we know that the government provided a variety of grants, but it cannot reach all members of the community. The uncertain condition caused by this pandemic strengthened the bonds of solidarity and generated a collective action among the women community. My research problem, how the collective action Cantelan alleviate the problems caused by the COVID-19 pandemic in the women's community in Lebo, Sidoarjo. My research methods here, I conducted.
Oh yeah, sorry, Bu Anis, can you turn it into slideshow so it's bigger?
Okay. Like this?
Is it working? Oh yeah, yes, thank you.
You're welcome. This is my research method. This research was conducted in Lebo village, Sidoarjo district, in Sidoarjo, East Java province of Indonesia. This phenomenon is interesting to study because the sustainability of the Cantelan since the beginning of the pandemic till the research was conducted is still going on. Qualitative research method with a feminist approach were chosen to present a whole picture of the Lebus women community. I want to present the whole picture of the whole women in Lebu community can generate their solidarity and the awareness. The research conducted on December 2020 till January 2021. Data collected by participatory observation and in-depth interview. Participatory observation is carried out on various activities when they prepare candelan. In-depth interviews were conducted with 5 activists of candelan, 3 beneficiaries of the candelan, 2 village officials, and 1 community leaders in Lebu. Pandemic conditions have a limitation in conducting interview activities. We should make physical distancing, wearing masks, and make sure that the situation is safe to us. Based on that situation, some of in-depth interview have done by phone, and lucky for me that they invited me to join in 2 group WhatsApp, namely Sedekah Jumat and the other is Pejuang Sedekah Candelan. That made me easy to communicate with them every time. So I always get an update information till now. Theoretical perspective in this research, collective action in Lebu village, which is driven by a group of women, cannot be using singly by social movement theory, but we should show the uniqueness of women as a marginalized group. Intersectional feminism is important perspective here to see the different situation faced by women during the COVID-19 pandemic. By using this perspective, can be seen that the power relation that intersect and affect the building of social relation in a pluralistic society in the experience of everyday life. The view of intersectionality is needed as a way of understanding and explaining the complexities of women's problems which are intertwined. Collective action is defined as the capacity of human society to develop an orientation according with the norm and value in its process, which often intersects with concept of social movement. In general, social movement are associated with the action of civil society organization or groups in supporting or opposing social change. Analyzing the candelan as a collective action carried out by women community and examining how these activities were realized and sustainable during movement theory stage by Singh. The purpose of the action carried out by social movement in this context, the candelan activity, is to maintain and protect the essence of humanity and living condition during the COVID-19 pandemic. This is my research.
Hello? Are you there? Hello, Bu Anis, are you there? It seems a problem with the connection.
Our computer perhaps conked out.
Yes, I think, yeah, she mentioned earlier that her connection was unstable. So I don't know, unfortunately, yeah. Okay. Probably she will join us later. Okay,
back.
there she is, okay.
We can start with question answer.
Okay, if it's possible, Bu Anis, you can continue just reading your PowerPoint instead of putting out your PowerPoint here. Can you continue there?
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. I just read it without sharing?
Yeah, that will be better, yeah.
Okay. Okay, thank you. My result and discussion in Lebu's village social context, the existence of several large factories in Lebu village places private laborers as their livelihoods, which rank the highest with 1,878 residents from total resident 6,371, contain of men 2,213 and women 3,158. The existence of the factory also absorbs workers from outside the village, that's growing the rental house or room business in Lebu. The next job is peasant and farm laborers, reaching 365, followed by traders, civil servant, and military, as well as several other jobs. The existence of the Bumi Sholawat Islamic Boarding School has made a positive contribution in opening up jobs in the form of laundry business and the need for parking services and others. This is the next, the initiator from Centelan. The idea of Centelan originated from some member of women's community who concerned about suffering of other people during pandemic. Termination of employment, obstruction of business, loss of job, or other various problems caused by a decreased income. This bad condition became a trigger to raise up solidarity and collective awareness among several women from low and middle economic strata. They do something beneficial for others. And the women here working together to collect funds from donator and from local women itself and from other parties outside the community. Usually they gather at 9 AM every Friday and then prepare centelan and serve it at 10 PM. This is, but I can show you the picture because the internet connection.
Maybe you can try. Maybe you can try now. Maybe you can try to show the picture.
Okay.
Hopefully your connection is good.
Thank you. This is centelan. It's a local term which represents a model of sharing and caring to others by hanging a plastic bags containing basic need foods, rice, sugar, eggs, tofu, vegetable, fruits, water coupon, and etc. Very interesting in Lebu. This is the pure and how they share an experience, how this is really help them in the pandemic situation, because like Bu Suwarni, they a domestic worker for 3 horses. The wages only 250,000 rupiah each house per month. So they only get 750 rupiah in a month. It's very, very little pay. I think like that. How can survive with this payment? But unfortunately, because PPKM time, the limitation of community activities held by Sidoarjo governance in January, the centelan activities suddenly should be stopped after 10 months. The ban from leadership of the Lebu village government didn't stop the women group's collective action. They switched the centelan activity, which usually carried out every Friday at 10 AM into an other activity, distributing packaged rice after subuh prayer at the mosque and several prayer rooms in. Today I got the information that they share 130 packs of rice to the women and other who pray. Okay, I continue with the discussion here about gender inequality in society is considered have warns the woman condition in COVID-19 pandemic. The concentration of various activities in the house caused the responsibility of women in the household to increase. Women must be able to manage their workload and accompany their children to school online. Poor women only think that being able to eat every day is enough. It's just simple like that. Availability of food or food ingredients is the main thing. Since the pandemic, the government has not only provided basic food assistance, actually they give a free to pay an electricity for the poor community in Lebu. Sorry, it's on Azam, but I will make a conclusion. The collective action of Chandalan, which was carried out by the women's community in Lebu, can categorize as a social movement, was felt by the poor woman as something useful and could ease the burden during the COVID-19 pandemic. Not all poor groups always in need get assistance from the government. There are some people who feel they need help, but are not getting help from the government. What is given to Chandalan is not much, but even though it is just a little, but it's still felt good by those who do need it. I think it's enough my presentation because the time is up. And I'm sorry, my internet connection is unstable. So
Thank you, Bu Anis. Could you stop the share screen? Thank you. Bidyut have questions to ask to Bu Dewi Liliana and Bu Rahayu. Okay, please, because we don't have much time, we only have 15 minutes for questions. So please, Bu Dewi, could you answer Bidyut's questions? Yes.
I mean, I may seem to be ignorant, but how do you define Kantelan? That is
okay. Yeah, the Chandalan.
And
yes.
then secondly, you know, I mean, collective action. How does it help the women?
Okay.
I mean, I
all right.
become hanging. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Bidyut. So the first question to Bu Dewi Liliana and
can
then
I just ask? Can I just add?
Anis.
Can I just ask the question,
yes.
the answer, so that they can answer together?
Okay. Yes. Yeah, you can ask question and then after that they can answer. Yes.
Because of the pandemic, even I was doing one WHO project where I'm collecting a lot of data, and one ministry, joint family, this thing. So what Diah, you were saying, it's not only in Indonesia, even here in India, we find that all the similar problems are just the same. You know, inside home, women are into such situation where they are not able to even report, because I was doing study with the one-stop centers. We have one-stop centers in India. And then, like, you know, so what we found that there are similar problems in India also. So I just want to know that how are they going? Do you have place like one-stop centers, or do these women go to report to police, or do the women get the chance of reporting and hoping that solution will come to them, especially, you know, when they want to stay married also? To the ones who want to leave their husbands is a different story altogether. They'll come in open, and even we recorded few. Of course, we cannot share because we were finding 100 stories which we have to do for WHO. But it was very difficult. So I just want to know: do you also have something similar to one-stop centers we have, or you know, some women go and report to the police, thanas, and all that? So do you also have? But yes, women condition has worsened in this pandemic. Rape cases have increased. Marital rapes have further increased. And situation is sad. It's sad. It's sad for all of us. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Bu Dewi, I think every speaker will have to ask, will have to answer Bidyut and Seema's question. Yes, please.
If
Okay, thank
anybody
you.
else has a question, Usha would be there. She might
Okay.
ask some questions. Let
Yeah,
us
maybe
consider all the
after
questions.
this, Bidyut.
Yes,
Maybe
yes.
after this. Okay. Yes.
I'm answering to Bidyut, ma'am. How I determine the target for the project for information literacy training. Basically, we think that women is a fundamental part of a family. So educating women means educating family and educating the society. That's our first initial discussion. So, and then we seek to collaborate with an association, and we found ISWGI, the Women and Gender and Child Protection Association, and we collaborate with Professor Amy, and then we had 37 participants from the ISWGI, and they have basically the profile of the participants are from the old generation or baby boomers until the younger generation like Ibu Wiwik, and we found that for the young women, information literacy skill is easily be adopted by them to use tools and social media things, while for the mid-age women, quite need effort to learn the information skill. And then in my study, I found that baby boomers generation or mid-age generation is vulnerable to spread hoax. So that's why in the next project, I will propose to have the training for the mid-age generation to increase their information literacy. It is not always related to the education level. The information literacy is related to how they process information and filter before sharing the information. Maybe that's the point. Thank you.
Thank you, Bu Tuti. You have to unmute your.
Okay, sorry. Okay, I will try to explain about the question from Madam Bidyut. This is stress is a biological or social thing. I think shock or stress are as a direct result for any other aspect like conflict, disaster, disturbance, and etc. So it can manifest physically or biologically to a woman, and socially can have an impact on social interaction. So stress is a biological and social thing, I think.
Thank you. I do remember Bidyut asked questions to Bu Keppi, right? Whether what's the reasons girls go to university? Is it because of the career, or is it because of the married plan? Because it has something to do with what you have done in your research.
Yeah.
What do you
Yeah,
think,
thank you. Yeah, thank you. The reason of the women go to the university, the first is for a career and how to increase their education until higher education, and this is the important thing for the student. But I remember with the result of the research many years ago, maybe in the 1980s like that. The second reason is to get the boyfriend.
Most suitable boyfriend.
Yeah, to get the boyfriend. And this is, you know, in Indonesia is one of the value of the women is to get married like that. But this is the second ration. The first is for career, I think. Yes, thank you,
Okay.
Bidyut.
Okay, thank you, Bu Anis. Bidyut, I think, and Sima also asked you questions during this pandemic. Can you explain the idea of cantelan? And then during this pandemic, is there any place where women can go to ask support or help, like going to one place? Or because presentation by Bu Wiwik Afifah have shown that the policy by the government is very, very little in terms of gender perspective. It's not gender friendly. It's not for women. It's not for children or even for marginalized. It's usually survival of the fittest. We can say like that. Okay, Anis.
No, it's Diah. Just
Yes.
one minor correction. The
Yes.
policies may have good intention, but at the implementation level, it is never effective.
Yes.
Let's
Yes.
put it that way. There are good policies, maybe, but implementation is very poor.
Bidyut,
Yeah,
I just want to share. I just want to share that the new policy has come. Just new policy has come where we all are today sharing this interaction. That new policy in India is saying that if you want to be even in the international webinars, you have to take permission from the ministry. And lot of the, and this was never there. We would not, and this is and I'll just share, you just Google search and you'll find this directive that has come is asking all of us to take permission from the External Affairs Ministry, Foreign Ministry may be having.
Wow.
They will sit on it and then.
Okay.
And then like,
all
you know,
right,
and plus,
Anis, yes, yeah, you can start.
One-stop centers. I want to know about one-stop centers and
One-stop
supporting
center.
system or supporting
Yeah.
system. Yeah.
Supporting
We have
system.
one in Indonesia, but Bu Anis first.
Yes.
Okay,
Bu
thank
Anis,
you.
please.
Right, thank you. Why I take a study in the labo, because there is a very interesting phenomenon. Why in the heart condition, women still have a heart to care other people. They don't want other people suffering like the poor woman feel. This is not a rich woman to initiate this program, Chamberlain. They but not really the poorest of the pure of community, but the mid poor like this, maybe like this. They mention themselves as a housewife. I'm only a housewife. We only a housewife. We don't have other job. My husband only bakso, pedagang bakso like that, or just
meatball seller, yeah.
Yeah, meatball sellers, cleaning, no, have a
street vendor,
or, like that. So it's not a rich people, but they have a heart. It is the main point, I think. How the solidarity is rising up because they don't want others feel the same thing what they feel before.
Is there any one center, like, you know, where women can ask for help? One-stop center, right, Sima?
We have.
Actually, no, real, okay. No. But the Chantelan is turned by RT to another RT. What RT?
District, some sort.
District something. Yeah, district community or something, but small district, just about 50 households like that. They turn every week from 4 now RT number 4 maybe, and then next on the 17, and then 7 or 6 like this, always turn. But in the village, only 7 RT active like that. Another still not active like 7 RT. Yeah, maybe this from me.
So there is no one-stop center, no, unfortunately.
No, okay. There's no good practice that way, whether you have it or not. But yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Bu Emi, do you have a question? Thank you, Zima.
No, not questions. Just add the the answer of Bu Anis, I think, or others. Here I want to share that here in Indonesia, actually, we have one stop center for violence cases, yeah, women violence cases, and we have each agency have one stop center for that kind of things, yeah. But during the pandemic, this center operate only in limited time, I think, and sometimes they don't work during the pandemic. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy.
So unfortunately, it's not working. This
Yeah,
stop.
during the COVID pandemic, it's not working.
Yeah.
On a lighter
Okay.
note, can I say something to do it? Just on a lighter note, one line.
Yes.
Dewey, you're giving complex to us all by, emphasizing that in that later age bracket, it is difficult for women to learn.
Yeah.
Like she said it again and again, that term. Dewey, are you able to listen? Are you able to listen?
Yes.
You said
Oh,
you said
Devi.
the
Oh, you asked
elder.
for Devi. Yes.
Devi, sorry. Yeah. So what I'm saying is you use the term that, in the later age, it's difficult for women. What is the term that you use? You use that, what did you say for the elder women?
Baby boomer generation.
Yeah,
like
baby
us,
boomer
like
generation.
me.
There is the study mentioned.
The baby boomers.
I did not
baby
like that.
boomers.
Somewhere along the line, I was hurt by that.
No, but it is
But
true
I think it's true, right? Like, because
yeah.
Devi is an engineer, Sima. She's a woman. So I think it's really interesting because even in Indonesia, we don't have many women engineers, right? So as I said to Bidyut, that technology is very masculine. So how do we make it feminine? That's the question, because I would love to have more and more girls studying engineering, become engineers, or scientists, because this is a challenge, especially.
Yes,
I don't
even
know
in
in
Indonesia.
Yeah.
Even in Indonesia, the number of women engineer is still very little. So in my association, Women in Engineering, we are trying to promote young women from secondary school to love, and to have a willingness to learn STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, by providing like training and then workshop, and also social media campaign. That's one of our mission.
Wonderful, very nice, Devi. And in India also is the same situation. We have only 19.8% women who are into STEM. I would like to interact with you more, with, of course, Emmy and Diah. I'm working on a project called Women Empowerment Atlas of India, Science and Technology Perspective, only with science and technology perspective. So maybe
I'll write down my
Diah, we can exchange.
Sure. I will share her email. Yes,
I write down my email address because I also I am a committee of women in engineering in Asia Pacific region.
Oh, wonderful.
That's good.
One of the committee for the
All right,
humanitarian.
Everybody, thank you. I think we don't have time for.
Oh, no, there is a minute.
I already did
just a minute.
Yes.
There are some questions in the chat box.
Oh no, that's Devi Liliana emails.
Yes, that's my email.
Okay, so we can connect.
Kantelan was not discussed. Kantelan was not discussed.
Oh, Chandalan. Can you show what Chandalan is, Bu Anis? Very short.
Okay. Very short. Picture or
you can show the picture.
Please
you can show the
picture.
Yeah.
No, please define it.
Oh, define. What is Chandalan?
Or other words in English.
Okay, just define.
Chandalan is
that is Chandalan, Bidyut. So you put food, sugar, rice, all basically in a plastic bag, and then everyone can get one.
Can take it.
It's free.
But
everyone
Chandalan
can
is
take one. It's free. Yeah.
Bu Diah, cantelan
Yes.
as a word, what does it mean in English? I think.
Oh, cantelan. Cantelan is a Javanese word. It means to put something, to hang something. You see this in
Hang
this picture.
something.
The plastic
Yeah.
hack is hang. So
Mhm.
everyone will donate something and they put it in this plastic bag, and especially women from the lower community can get one, can take one.
Yes.
It's for free.
But this is across gender, na? Anybody can come and take it. It's not
No,
specific
usually
for women.
women. Usually women.
Okay.
Exclusively women, yeah.
All women.
Only
Yes,
women.
all
Only
women.
women.
From women to women.
From women to women.
Men cannot give them.
Cannot.
They
No.
don't care. I
No.
think Sima.
Okay, I think you can stop share, Bu Anis. Anyway,
Okay.
I'm very
Okay.
sorry because of the time already. We passed the time limit. And thank you very much to everybody. It's been a wonderful presentation. I learned a lot, and I hope we see you again in 3 hours time, because then we have the final plenary session. Okay, thank you very much. Bye.
Gender
Have a
issues,
good day.
gender issues are over.
Yeah, it's over.
Solved all
I
the
think
problems.